Hey, good morning. We're both back on together this week.
It's been a long time.
Yeah, been a long time since I rock and roll.
Yeah,
Episode 353. I chatted a little bit last week with everybody while Scott was busy working, making some monies. And
yeah. Sometimes real estate, you got to work around the client schedule, and
oh yeah.
there was no way around it. So,
And then
to
2 weeks
to
ago,
our
I was gone, and then you were
yep,
also becoming a grandpa again.
that's right. Yeah. The little Damien is now 2 weeks old.
Damien.
So, yeah,
The omen has arrived.
yes. So,
He's a cute little bugger, though. His pictures are really cute. I
yep,
see Ashley's pictures all the time, and just a cute little guy. And he's going to have his hands full growing up with 3 bigger sisters.
yep, for sure. So that'll be interesting. But Ashley's doing well. Everybody's doing well. Baby's doing good. So
Oh, good.
good time. Good time.
Excellent.
It's been a
Excellent.
crazy couple of weeks here.
Yeah. I mentioned last week, because I was gone and did a little Universal trip, went to visit my dad and
Yep.
all that other fun stuff. And then Record Store Day was the other week. I kind of mentioned a little bit about that too. Picked up just a couple things. I picked up a Cheech and Chong album and a Dio album they had just for Record Store Day. I thought was really cool.
Oh, that's cool.
So yeah, I'm not buying tons of them, but I started to realize I had a few albums. I was like, so I bought me a player and I listen every once in a while and stuff like that. But I'm not going to buy every single thing I've always loved. I do buy a few bands I really like. I most of the smaller bands when they come out with something special because it's limited edition usually. So, but
yeah.
Other than that, just been working since I got back. Other stuff, getting ready for Motor City Comic Con in a little over a week. And that,
yeah, we got Mother's Day coming up this upcoming weekend, and then Motor City's the weekend after.
Always is. It's funny when people go, "When's Motor City?" every year, and I'm like, a week after Mother's Day. It's really easy. Well, what date is that? Look at a calendar. I can't. The other question I get all the time is this for all shows. Well, how much is it to get in? Well, it's costing me about $600.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going to cost you to walk through the front door. I'm coming through the
back. That's right.
Kevin, good morning. Kevin's going to come and visit us up at Motor City Comic Con, hopefully still next week. Look forward to that.
Nice.
I'll be set up. I'll be in B5, so Brett 5. And then the map I'll have to get it all up online. They flipped the layout this year. So Artist Alley is where the celebrities were the last couple of years. So over in that newer section, and they moved them all to the other section. So excellent. Kevin's going to be there hanging out. So any Bardstone stuff, definitely come by, and while he's there, we can have it signed. So, and if Scott comes, are you going to troop it all or just hang out?
I don't know. It all just depends how the weekend unfolds.
I know you guys have been crazy busy with real estate.
Yeah,
and looked like you did a concert over the weekend too.
Yeah. So real quick, real estate wise, Team Titans, you know who we are. Jill and I are here for all your needs. We specialize in Macomb, Oakland counties, but we also service St. Clair County. We've done deals in Livingston and Genesee, down in Wayne. We've got a pretty wide reach. I've gone as far as
they are banned from Washtenaw County.
Yeah.
No, they do.
Yeah. But one thing I want to point out, because what we're encountering a lot are people who need a house to buy, and they are just frustrated with the process. We've met people who have been looking for over a year. This chart here is the inventory levels for real estate, and it goes all the way back to, you can see there. Where is that screen? I got too many windows open. Anyways, you see all the way back to, I think that's 2006 is the earliest there. Mm-hmm. And inventory levels just keep dropping. March of 2020, when we first went into lockdowns, we were at record lows back then. It's like, or near record lows. There was a dip just before, you can see, but we were at 3,100 units for sale. This is for Macomb County alone, but it's the same all over the state. But 3,100 units in March, and those were super low levels. Since then, we're now down to 1,400 units as of April of this last month. So we're like less than half of what we were doing then. So it's a competitive market. You need to find yourself. Don't do it alone. I'm telling you, you got to have somebody who understands the negotiating strategies that work in today's competitive market. You need to understand, you need to be on top of things when things hit the market. You got to be able to get to it right away. So you want very responsive realtors. You want realtors who are full-time. God bless the realtors who are doing it part-time and they have a day job and all those things. But the fact is they can't be as responsive for your needs. And this is the largest financial purchase you'll probably make in your lifetime. So you want people who are on top of things, know the trends that will work for you, and can get you in the front of the line as soon as possible. So give us a call. 526-232-5144 is our number. I'm putting it in the comments.
Now, question for you on this. One is, where should you be at on available
Inventory.
homes? Yeah, inventory.
A healthy level, because you see that big bump up there.
Well,
that was during the crash.
I would say that was when everybody had bought up to 10 years before and got where they were paying interest and got way more house than they could afford. And when they all had to start paying, there's a lot of defaulting going on.
Correct. So that was an unhealthy level on the other side.
Yeah. And on that time, it's because they built so many new houses in the late 90s. Because I watch people actually that around here, we had people where I live at in manufactured home community that actually let those go back to the bank because they were able to buy physical better homes on property for pennies on the dollar because everything crashed so much and it was all foreclosures. And then then after they got their home, then they would let the manufactured home go back to the bank because they were like, well, I already got my home. They can't take that away. They can take the other one.
Yeah, they changed the laws on that, but that was a big strategy back then is people would secure one house while they had another one and then just let the other one go. So that giant hump there around 2008 or so, 2006, 2008, that's an unhealthy level of too much inventory because so much was flooding the market. A healthy range for like in the Macomb County area, 4,000 to 5,000 units a month would be a good range. We're at 1,400 right now. And when I look at the forecasted closings for May, it looks like we're in drop even more. We'll see, it takes time to see where the trend goes. If, are we hitting the bottom or is it going to keep going down? I mean, that's really the question.
Well, I also think interest rates going to have a play in next. They announced, of course, they're not going to lower them again because they're going to stay where they're at.
Yes. That's a good lesson too. A lot of people are trying to time the market. It's hard. You don't know. So we had people who last winter, they decided not to buy because interest rates were going to drop in 6 months. So now the announcement is they're not dropping. Well, meanwhile, prices have still gone up. So they, for the same amount of money, they're getting less house now because they tried to time the market. And I know people even 3 years ago during the lockdown, they said, oh, prices can't keep going up. We're going to rent for a year and then we'll buy next year when prices are down. Well,
we're in a very unpredictable area in all this right now. Because maybe you think one thing's going to happen, something else is going to happen.
The market
and everything could crash down price wise at any time too.
Yeah, and really the market is being steered by the government. The people in charge don't like single family ownership, home ownership. They want us in multifamily housing. You can go back now 8 years ago, I think it is, the World Economic Forum. They talked about social engineering us to be in multifamily houses and to make it too expensive to live in single family units. Everything that's happening, the cost has gone up, while interest rates have gone up, availability has gone down. And I don't know about by you, but out here, everywhere you turn, it's apartment units being built everywhere.
There's a lot more apartment units being built than homes. And then a lot of the homes I'm seeing in the Ann Arbor area, especially, they've got a few places that have had single family homes. I've seen a lot more duplexes and they're smaller size. They just are building right now on the corner of Baker and Jackson near where I'm at all the time. A whole slew of apartment buildings. They're all 3-story. And it's right in the middle of, no other housing really. There's a couple of houses here and there. It's more industrial and businesses right through there. So they're building them there. So
and they're trying to tell us this is what people want. This is what millennials want. It's not true. Every single person I talk to, they're being forced into it because they want a home, but they've been looking for a year. They need to find a place to live. The prices are just astronomical right now, just locally. And then on top of it, property taxes too, just locally. A house in Roseville, for instance, a $220,000 house now in Roseville. It's an okay house, but they're kind of on the small side. Taxes alone, $6,000 a year if you buy that house.
Yeah.
In Roseville, you're paying $500 a month for your taxes on top of your really high payment. You need $1,800 to $2,000 a month now to have a $200,000 house in Roseville.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
No, it's pretty bad. And I've seen stuff. I see postings all the time.
Yeah.
One was on Reddit, flipping through that one day, and it was like, oh, here's something they're talking about. You know, she was telling how much her and her boyfriend make, and combined they gross 150. That's before taxes and everything,
Yep.
and that. But they were looking for houses. Then the update was, telling people say, hey, yeah, I know. People are criticizing them. It's like, we don't want to spend more than we need to. But they're trying to find a home wherever they're at for 300,000. Now, of course, that doesn't even get into what the actual payment is. That's just the physical cost, and they're not even thinking the payment yet.
Yep.
Is still the max they want to go. And when you're like I said, you look for a $200,000 home or whatever in Roseville, where your taxes are now, like you said, $500 a month. I mean, if you had if you could get $1,000 a month mortgage, that's half your mortgage cost in taxes.
One person who we know, they bought a house 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I ran their numbers. So if they bought the house today, so their house has gone up is now worth 400,000. Mm-hmm. They bought it at 315,000. Okay. So it's gone up that much in value. So if with the down payment they used back then, plus the cost today and the interest rate today, because they had it was like 2.75 or something percent. Yeah. So with today's interest rate and everything else, they would be paying $1,200 more per month for the exact same house if they bought today versus 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And that's where it's crazy. So, unless, talking about timing the market, unless we have a total economic collapse across all sectors, they are making it to, and Obama said this. You can go back and look it up. Obama said, we're not going to make it illegal to own a gun. We're not going to make it illegal to own a single family home. We're not going to make it illegal to have electricity run on coal and fossil fuels. We're just going to make it too expensive to do it.
Yeah.
That's what he said back then. World Economic Forum has been pushing ever since. Everyone I know wants to buy, but they're not building anymore. So they're restricting inventory even more. And they're funneling us into these multifamily units is what it is. So if you want your own house, don't time the market, just do it, because every single person who's tried to time the market over the last 4 years is on the worst end right now.
Yeah. Yeah. If you can do it, you can find a place, great. If not, then
get ready to move in with friends.
Well,
yeah.
It's been talked about many years, and it's not just in the last 10 years. It's been something that's pitched for many years. I heard it back in college. They talked about it. So
even families, I'm seeing more and more families where the parents and the kids are going in on the loan application together, so that they can have 4 incomes counted, and they're just buying the larger house now.
Yeah. And I've seen that. I've seen that for years, and people have done that, and I've seen that in different cultures here in Michigan that want to do that anyways. But it's kind of if you have to combine your resources. So all right.
But anyways, give us a call if you need real estate.
Yep. Got in the mail the other day. Dom was fast on this one. I'm wearing the T-shirt, and the John McCarty book got it in the mail. So. Nice. And I believe he printed through the same place our book's coming from.
Yep.
So nice feel to it. It's got real good pages and colors and
nice.
So it's a good size. This thing's a couple hundred pages, I'm sure.
That's like a Crimson Shadows. That's a Bardstone quality book there.
Yeah. So signed by looks like everybody. So
very nice.
Pretty cool. And
does that have McCarty's signature on it?
Yeah, he signed it. I got a quote.
Nice.
He signed it. They had a cool like 90s retro video game came over with McCarty. Nice. T-shirt was part of the deal. So
the classic cool fight with Claude Lemieux, right?
Yeah, I read through this a few times, and not the whole book, but just a little bit of it, and it's pretty good. But yeah, here's a season's beatings card. So
that's awesome.
And then our good friend Billy Tucci did the cover for Dom. So good stuff. So I like supporting all the good stuff. And I saw Adam Talley's Kickstarter. He's just got his books, so I'll be getting those pretty soon. Looking forward to reading his next couple issues.
Nice.
Caught up on my Hasms recently, and I know Sean Forney's Kickstarter did well and it did here a couple weeks ago.
Yep.
So we'll be getting that down the road sometime. So a lot of good stuff out there.
I'll give a quick update on ours too.
Yep.
So I just got a message from our printer that they expect our books to be ready to ship on Friday. So
Nice.
I'm getting the final payment ready to wire out to them so that they can ship it as soon as it's done. So we're gonna it's gonna take about 2 weeks. So we're gonna get that order in at probably the third week of May. I'm thinking we'll see how fast it comes. When you're shipping this way, it's a lot slower than traditional, just quick express mail.
It's the slow boat from China.
yeah, exactly. So we've got that coming, and as soon as it arrives, though, we'll be able to get everybody's rewards all packed up and mailed. So that I've got everything set up. I got that process down pretty good, so I can do that pretty quick. This is our 14th Kickstarter. So, back in the day when we were first doing it, it would take forever for me to put orders together because I didn't have a system, but it goes fine.
Well, and then of course, the amount of books that Kevin and I each bought, we'll sort all those out. And so San Diego Comic-Con, we're going to have books.
We will have them for that. Yes. I'm very excited to get them.
For Motor City, I will have the original issues still available. So you'll have a good selection of those at Motor City Comic-Con. But going forward, we'll still have some available here and there. They're not going to be as readily available at the shows. There'll be limited quantities. So
correct. You brought up real quick. Also, you mentioned the concert I went to. This was really cool. I want to share this story. One of the legendary rock bands out there is the band Styx. And, just so happens our comic book for Wretched Realms was inspired by the song The Renegade by Styx. So we were just we had an opening in the day last week, and Jill's like, let's just do a day trip out to Soaring Eagle, and we'll, it's about a 2-hour drive for us to go out there. And so we thought, let's just go out there and enjoy the afternoon. So we drove out there and had some fun. But we wanted to leave by 7 because, it's a 2-hour drive home. And around 6:30, we're like kind of wrapping things up, getting ready to leave. Some random guy comes up to us and is like, do you like Styx? We're like, yeah. He's like, well, I got 2 tickets. I'm not going to use them. So if you want them, we're like, okay. So we took them. And they were just free tickets, the general admission tickets. They have a very nice auditorium in their concert hall or whatever. They do conferences, all kinds of stuff there. Nice stage. And it's like the rear 4 rows all the way across of this auditorium. And so we're like, oh, this is cool. And it's a nice setup. So we're sitting down. We're like, oh, this is neat. We weren't planning this. And then these 4 people sit next to us. And they're like, is it just the 2 of you? And we're like, yeah. They're like, can you do us a favor? We're like, what? And he's like, we got these 2 really good tickets, but our family here ended up coming, but they only have these ones. So do you mind if we trade your free tickets for our 2 good tickets? We're like, we're thinking, like, is this a scam? Are we going to get tased for having like fake tickets? What's going on? So we take his tickets. We're like, where are these? We're going down. It's like kind of in the center and like 20th row. Like they were really good seats. You could see the stage really well. You could see the band members really well. So those were $90 tickets each. And we got those for free. So we ended up staying for the Styx concert, and they were phenomenal live. And it's just amazing watching these guys because I'm not trying to trash the current. I am going to trash the current generation. The current generation, you guys suck. You guys do. All your musicians, nobody makes anything original anymore. Nobody can sing. These guys are in their 70s, singing live, running all over the stage, high energy the entire time, and just the sound was so good, and it was phenomenal. And if they fell down, guess what? They would stop singing because they were actually singing. They weren't lip syncing, and they sound actually. I went back and watched some old live concert videos of them because you go see a band, then you're all kind of fired up for them again. And I think they're better now than they were back. Like I was watching a concert of theirs like 40 years ago in the 80s, and I think they're better now.
Yeah.
So
Well,
it
you
was so
mentioned these older guys. Now, this is from 4 years ago or 5 years ago. But if you went and saw him now, I couldn't find anything recent real quick. But this is Mick Jagger
oh yeah.
from just a few years ago, 2019. So, and at this point, he's like 75,
Yeah.
and he's moving
Actually,
around. He's moving
isn't
around
he
like
in his 80s now?
he's 80 now. So here he is, like 75.
Right. And look at him jump all over that stage, man.
Yeah, as he was preparing for their tour. So stuff
It
like that. Yeah.
I've seen Aerosmith live. Phenomenal. Same thing. Steven Tyler, High Energy. They're coming back now because he had that vocal injury, I think.
Yeah, their last tour, final tour.
Their
This is the
last
last
tour.
chance. I think they're gonna be here in Detroit around
Yeah.
November or December or something like that.
Sammy Hagar live is insane.
Yeah, he's
All
coming
of
around
these
this summer
bands.
too.
Yeah.
And he's going to have as a special guest, but he's not. It could change from city to city, of course, is what it's going to be. But then it's like someone that did retire, because there's somebody they get to an age that done is Bob Seger. He just turned 79 this past week.
Yeah.
And I saw him. He was at the draft and stuff like that. Looks good. I mean, he's still in fit and all that stuff, but his voice was going, so he knew he couldn't continue that.
Right.
But some of these guys like Mick Jagger, I heard them talking about on the radio the other day. It's like he still sounds good. So when they go do this, you see these guys up there, which the joke was, years ago, like who wants to see the Rolling Stones at 50 when they were 50, and now they're all like 80s, and the ones that are still with us, and they're still playing hard. But I think that's what you mentioned about the current generation of music. It's like I see a lot of younger people popping up playing instruments. They get, these teens are doing these little house bands and stuff like that. They're not actually out there doing stuff. And we need to see them actually creating and starting to do that more, not just playing, I could play Metallica now. So sounds good. Don't get me wrong. Some of these are really talented, but I get tired of all these just singers. That's why I don't listen to most of them. The Lady Gagas, the Ariana Grandes, the Britney Spears. I mean, they just sing, and they don't, and most of them, I don't really care for what they sing about or sing as. There's just not a lot of really good talent. You do get like a Taylor Swift out there who actually can play instruments, and she does play. She did go from country to pop, so she's got a kind of a mix in there. But I'd like to see actual bands, real bands that come out there. That's why when I, follow the few I follow, they're smaller venues, but they're actually playing their instruments, and I enjoy that a lot more.
Right.
So,
did you hear the rumor about Motley Crue's new album?
Yeah,
it's all AI composed.
Yeah, there's who's the other one? Oh, Randy Travis can't sing anymore, and they're going to be doing a full AI thing with him too. But yeah, they're saying that AI, they took what did they did with I don't know if it's fully composed with Motley Crue. I've heard a mix of that. It was like they did it, but then they ran it through AI to clean it up because he doesn't have the same voice at all.
Well, Vince Neil is just a mess.
Yeah,
he doesn't even know the words to his own songs anymore. People will redub what he's saying. They'll put words up to try to guess what he's saying. It's so bad, Vince Neil. Oh.
Yeah, but, people I know that saw this, and it was just it's like the nostalgia's there, but at the same time, it's like, he's not the same one that that they remember, of course, from way back in the day.
But my understanding is they even Motley Crue even used AI to write their songs, whereas like the Randy Travis one, he lost it. His voice, he had
cancer. Yeah. Well, what they did was they took several different people that sounded very similar, plus some of his old stuff to help craft it to bring the sound out that sounds like him, but it is his music.
It's his music, right? He's not using AI to generate new music. They're using AI to recreate his voice, because he's lost it. So anyways, that turned into an awesome night at seeing Styx. That's all.
Cool. Yeah. Mick Mars though, right now, has got a new album out. He did on 100%. Now he's got health issues for traveling. And so that's why he started touring with Motley Crue. Of course, he's suing them because they're now cutting him out of the profits. And he's still, all that music was really because of him. I mean, if you watch the movie The Dirt, as funny as it is, it's one of those things where it's like a very just a comedic movie, but it's all based on facts. And really, they've all said, even at the beginning of that movie when they got together, it really came together when Mick joined the band. So Motley Crue, a lot of it would not be who they are without Mick, just because he's physically he can't just do this tours like that, or at least not right now. They cut him out, and then want to cut him out of the profits too. And it's like, wait a minute, he's still supposed to be a quarter owner of the band. So I hope he wins.
I think he will.
Yeah. So, but then other than music, I got a few concerts coming up this year myself, so I'll be seeing
Nice.
Sum 41 in September with the Interrupters. We got Bush, Megadeth's coming up in the fall.
Oh, that'll
So
be cool.
yeah, so a
We
bunch of
got the what is it? Def Leppard, Steve Miller Band, and I'm blanking on the third one.
yeah.
It's the two headliners. Anyways, that concert at Comerica Park, I think, in June or
Okay,
July. That's going to be an awesome one. We got some really good seats there, so we're excited
nice.
for that.
Yeah, that'd be a good one. I
Yeah,
always like Def Leppard. They were always good.
I gotta look it up now. Who the headline? It's Def Leppard and someone else is
Yeah, I was
co-headlining.
just looking at here, so because they're doing a bunch of Cool America. Here we go. Looks like it's in July. Journey. You got Journey, Steve Miller,
Yeah.
and then I believe it's Heart's going to be there, but Cheap Trick's not.
No, it's Hart, Cheap Trick, and Steve Miller are rotating on the tour.
Okay.
So we're getting Steve Miller at ours.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, if you want to see,
I was hoping for. I mean, I like Steve Miller. Don't get me wrong, but I always wanted to see Cheap Trick, so I was kind of bummed.
You can on May 21st at Little Caesars Arena. You got Hart and Cheap Trick together.
Oh, I did not. Oh, so I could see the other two.
Yeah, they're doing a separate tour.
I've seen videos of Hart singing lately, and they still sound phenomenal.
Oh yeah, I've seen them pop up on a couple of things. They're really good, and Cheap Trick still sounds good too, from what I understand. So.
Nice.
But yeah, it says May 24th, 7 p.m. is Cheap Trick, 8 p.m. is Heart. It's the Heart Royal Flush Tour, and Cheap Trick is supporting them on that. So that's probably why they're swapping all in out with Def Leppard too. They're in between stuff.
Yep.
So since they're doing Detroit together, that's why Steve Miller's coming there, and they're hitting the other cities they're not hitting with in their own tour.
That's a good idea.
That'd actually be and there's been some bands doing that. It's like even Mammoth, he did his own separate little mini tour and stuff like that, but in between all stuff he's done with Metallica, opening up on one night for them, in between stuff they were doing other stuff, and same thing with some of the other bands. And of course Pantera announced during last year's tour with Metallica they're doing a tour this year, so nice. A lot of good stuff out there, a lot of great tours coming around, and some of these are like this is gonna be like your last chance to see a few of these, I think. So
yeah, definitely double check for really good concerts. I'm telling you, when I was up at Soaring Eagle, I was looking at the upcoming performances. A lot of casinos get really good acts, and it's a different kind of crowd at those events. So, in my old age, I don't want the rowdy crowd. And it's a more subdued crowd, but it's still so fun.
And a lot of those are smaller venues. They're not the big stadiums, but they're big. They're just not as big. And I've done a few over the years. I've seen some over in Windsor, stuff like that. And then a few.
I saw Gretchen Wilson a long time ago at the Windsor one. Okay. That was a great venue there. It was a great concert.
That one there's no bad seats there.
No.
Even if you could be back row, you're going to see everything just fine because of the way it's laid out and stuff like that. Another one out in Vegas, we saw Sting a couple years ago at Caesars, and while we were up high, you could still see everything just fine. Yeah. And that's awesome. Another great venue too. So don't fret those cheaper seats in the back. You can still see in a lot of those places because they want people to enjoy the concert. It's not like the old baseball thing with Bob Uecker, Uecker decks where nobody can't see anything. So
I don't know if I talked about it before. This will be the last thing I'll talk about music wise. I don't think we had a chance to talk. We ended up going and seeing a Fleetwood Mac tribute band called Tusk. They were excellent. They sounded just like Fleetwood Mac. It was in downtown Pontiac. There was a place called the Strand Theater. I never even knew of this place. Okay. It was this nice little theater there. Sound was phenomenal. It felt like you were at a Fleetwood Mac concert. I mean, they sound-wise were spot on.
Nice.
That was a lot of fun, too.
There's a few good tribute ones out there you hear about, and then I get these on the radio stuff, and then when this segment, I hear there's a couple of places in Michigan open up recently. One is down in Wyandotte, and like, oh, we got this '80s tribute band, and the audio on the commercial on the radio is horrible. The singing's horrible. I'm like, okay, they may be a tribute band. You gotta get somebody that actually sounds like, Guns N' Roses. Not. Yeah. Tusk, because he could screech high, but
Tusk actually tours the whole country, and I think they're actually authorized by Fleetwood Mac. I could be wrong on that, but I thought I read they're like authorized, just like The other one I really want to see is Mark Martel. He
Mhm.
does the Queen tribute band,
Oh
and
yeah.
they're the official tribute band of Queen. Queen, like Brian May, has given his blessing to them and everything.
Yeah, they were
But
going to be.
he sounds just like Freddie. They actually
Yeah,
used his voice in the movie.
I wanted to say that he was. I think he's already been around. So
Yeah, I don't think he's touring right now with
yeah.
them.
Here he is. Yeah, he's down in Kentucky. Mark Martell is.
Is he?
But I know I saw him pop up. I think it was last year. He was out in Firekeepers.
Yeah. Yeah, I think right now the touring he's doing is for him personally and his music.
Okay.
And then it'll actually say in the title, Mark Martel, a tribute to Queen, or I forget what the name of they have a name for the tribute.
Oh, when you
band.
see the guy too, look at him. He looks like Freddie.
Yeah. But his voice is phenomenal.
Yeah, he's got this similar bone structure. So he's very similar to looking. He's from Nashville.
I never understood though why Queen wouldn't just hire him to be their official singer.
I could tell you.
Well, I know why, but
he looks too much like Freddie.
Is that it?
I think so.
Yeah, if he grew a little mustache, he.
I think also it was like, okay, they wanted to not distance themselves from Freddie, but they wanted to pay homage to the music they did, and it also puts them a little more forward. And if you get a guy that looks kind of like that guy, he looks almost exactly like Freddie and can do that stuff. People are gonna go, yeah, they're not gonna take it seriously. We're bringing in Lambert, like they did Adam Lambert. He right away, hey, I'm not Freddie. You're not going to imitate Freddie.
I hear,
and everybody I know that's kind of saw the Queen, with Lambert, they love it. They said, it's not Freddie Mercury. They said, but he does. And I've seen a couple. They did a documentary about it on one of the streaming services. I'd go see them. It was really good. The music.
I don't care for it. It's, to me, Freddie is the band, and I don't hear Freddie. It doesn't sound like Queen.
Well, I mean, it's not going to, but it's Queen with Brian May and and that's what the music's there, and it's more of just a celebration of what they all did, because they were all part of it. While Freddie was the front man and the voice, really it came all together because you had to have that core group. I think Freddie by himself would have done okay. He never would have had if he lived. I don't think by himself would have had the full success that Queen had as a group, because he needed that other part. And some of that came out in the movie a little bit, but it really, when you look at, they really work better together than individually.
Oh yeah, I'm just saying, if I had a choice between tickets between seeing the current Queen with Adam Lambert or Mark Martel playing Queen songs, I'll take Mark Martel every time.
Okay,
that for me.
Yeah. And see, I'd rather go see a couple of live members of actual Queen. Not that I wouldn't see Mark, but Queen. So what's up, Eric? He's popping on in this morning.
Hey, how are you?
So
E-dubs.
So besides music,
we turned into the musical episode today.
Without getting, we're going to talk more Star Wars, and we'll get there in a minute. Real quick, I haven't finished yet. I'm still working it. Really enjoying so far the Dead Boy Detectives on Netflix. I'm a few episodes into that. It's part of the Sandman universe. I was looking up to see where it fit in. They did have some of their own issues, 12 issues total. But it was created by Neil Gaiman and Matt Wagner. They first appeared in the Sandman number 25, April 1991. It's got that quirky Sandman stuff to it and everything else. So I definitely recommend checking out if you like the Sandman stuff.
Now, the lead character in this is actually dead, correct?
Both of them are. Both boys are dead.
They're ghosts.
They are ghosts. And of course, they have their own rules and stuff like that. They can go anywhere. Unlike the Ghost TV series, where they really can't go anywhere.
Which was phenomenal. Are we done with this season?
Yeah, last week was the last episode.
That was a cliffhanger ending.
Yes. So, that was a lot of fun. If you ever watched Ghosts on CBS, go check that out. It's coming back for another season. Hilarious. It's been in a lot of ways, even though it's about some ghosts, a breath of fresh air in terms of comedy. It's been funny, well written. They're not trying to force comedy on it. They allow the situations to happen, and that's where the comedy comes from. Where I feel like so many of these shows that people talk about in the last 20 years in comedy have been just horrible, because I feel like I'm watching going, you're writing jokes, which you're writing trying to force funny, and it's not funny.
Speaking of that, did you watch Unfrosted?
I did.
Did you like it?
It's weird. I personally I watched the whole thing. I'll be honest with you. I thought it was they tried to be as absurd with it as possible. And again, that's where a lot of the forced funny. And of course, I I have nothing against Jerry Seinfeld. There's sometimes I find him funny, sometimes I don't. I was never a big Seinfeld TV show fan. People were always surprised that there's things I found funny about it, but to watch it week after week, I never could do that. It just felt like the same thing over and over again. And of course, that's why it was a show about nothing. Some of his stand up, same thing. I've liked some of it over the years, but not all of it. His writing in cards with comedians, I like.
That's really good.
Amy Schumer, not a fan. When I first saw her doing her stand-up stuff, I was like, okay, and I thought she was cute. And I was like, okay, stuff like that. And I started listening to her jokes, going, God, I've heard some of these before. Yeah, and then it comes all over. She stole a ton of stuff, but she still gets to do stuff. She had her show, tried to watch it, didn't like it. Trainwreck, a movie. In fact, somebody the other day mentioned that's one of their guilty movies. I said, yeah, I can't stand it because I can't stand her anymore, really. And I've seen her now in a couple of different things here recently, and that. But yeah, Trainwreck was just was
a train wreck.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
For me, the only thing about Trainwreck that was funny was John Cena, because it was so different.
And that's what everybody's saying.
Become that character many times now.
Yeah. So it's stuff like that. So and then there's a lot of people. You get Hugh Grant playing the guy that was playing the actual guy that was the voice of Tony the Tiger. He was also in a lot of Disney stuff like that, and making it look like all these mascots are now going on strike. And I mean, the whole thing was just completely convoluted. There was not much. There was not much actual facts until the end when they said, "Oh, this is a real fact," and it was actually a political slight towards the end of current political climate. But it just was not.
I wonder, like for us, we love Seinfeld and we watch it a lot. But I think it shows, like in Unfrosted, you had a superstar cast from top to bottom. I mean, everybody in it was like this cameo appearance of someone. Right. And Seinfeld at the time was all unknowns surrounding him, but they were the characters. Jerry was never the strong part of the show. It was the
no. I always like Kramer better.
Oh yeah.
And I've probably seen more episodes than I think I have on that show.
Jerry could never act,
but Jerry's just Jerry. And he's just Jerry. I liked the Elaine character. I liked the characters. To me, it wasn't. Sometimes it was funny, and sometimes I was sitting watching. I remember watching over the years with people like, I just don't find it funny. I'm just not enjoying it. So, but the whole Unfrosted thing I thought was, I just thought it was just ridiculous. It was kind of, I know what they were doing. It was a complete parody of everything, and they were just making fun. I'm surprised that both Post and Kellogg signed off on it, but then at the same time, I'm not, because it showed off of their products regardless. So,
did you see the commercial Kellogg's did?
No,
they hired the guy. I forget the guy's name now. But anyways, he's an actor, and he's like representing Kellogg's.
Oh, Gaffigan?
No, it wasn't Gaffigan. He was. I think I can't remember. He always plays like a detective or something. Anyways,
okay.
He's got Jerry sitting down, and he's like, you stole from us the Pop-Tarts, for your movie, so we're going to steal something of yours. They unveil, and they have all the characters from Seinfeld. All the actors are stuck in a cage. And Jerry's like, oh, my characters.
Yeah. So actually, Unfrosted, I would tell people, say, maybe watch it once if you really want to, but it's not. I didn't laugh much. I laughed a few times, but I didn't laugh much. Most of them just watching. They were trying to be as over the top and absurd, and it's like Melissa McCarthy. There's times I like her, but a lot of times I don't, because again, I feel a lot of the stuff she does is trying to force being funny instead of just people being funny, and that's where I find it the humor in a lot of this most modern stuff I just don't like. So
I do wonder too, and who knows the answer, but when Larry David and Seinfeld write together, I feel it's much more funny. And Larry David was not part of this. This was Jerry working with other writers. And so I just wonder, without Larry David being part of the mix, does that hurt? Does Jerry need?
Jerry can write jokes. Jerry can do stand-up. Right. And to do a movie, now he had other people right with him, and the whole thing felt like they're trying to do from one bit to another bit to another bit, instead of just telling of. I mean, the whole thing, like the whole slight romance between the two heads of the serials, all this. It felt like they were just spending too much time doing the same thing over and over again.
Yeah,
just trying to tell it as a different bit. Yeah, and it just really wasn't I don't know. I guess the fact that there's not really much of a story there.
Yeah.
And then you get the two kids that are dumpster diving, eating the pastries and stuff like that. And then
The goo.
this is good. I mean, it's like, okay, there was a little bit of.
Yeah.
I found them actually a little more funnier than actually adult.
Yeah,
So.
I thought the trailer made it much more. Like I was looking forward to watching Unfrosted. And like
I thought maybe there.
through,
I expected to be some
it.
comedic stuff, but I expected to be a little more, kind of factual, but they're embellishing a little bit. The whole thing was just put on
Parody. Yeah.
Yeah. It wasn't even parody because they weren't parodying anything but made up. So
yeah.
So it's out there on Netflix. You want to check it out. It's been the number one movie, but I think it's going to disappear pretty quick.
I think so too.
And then I guess we got a new trailer though. Moving on to Star Wars because we're
Star Wars. Now you pop it up.
Yeah, Acolyte is coming out next month. I've watched the 6 episodes for the Tales of the Empire. I like the first 3 better than the last 3. Is the way I'm going to put it right now.
Now, did they do? I haven't watched it yet. Did they do it like they did the last series where they kind of bounce back and forth between, like previously you followed Dooku, and then you followed who else did we follow then? Anyways, whoever was Ahsoka. Now this time we have Barriss Offee, and then I don't remember her name, but she was in the Ahsoka series. She was the villain who became a Dathomir witch there at the end.
Yeah, now hers is what I liked. I liked hers best, and then the other one, I just felt like that. I don't know. I just didn't feel like it fit. Okay.
Did they bounce back and forth, or did they do 3 episodes?
The first 3 was about the witch.
Okay.
And then the last 3 were
Barriss.
The one that became one of the sisters in the Inquisitors.
Yep. Okay.
So cool. Yeah, and it just she's a former Jedi. I just I don't know. I just felt like that there wasn't the story they were whatever they're trying to do with her. I just didn't feel like they really accomplished anything to push any stories forward.
Okay.
Like they did with the Dooku Ahsoka.
Right.
But I remember this character. I remember the character from like the Clone Wars movie, or Return. Episode 2. We saw it pop up here and there. And this was like, okay, so now we find out what happened to her after the fact. She didn't die. She had left the Order.
Yeah, she was in the Clone Wars series. She actually was a traitor to the Jedi. She set up. She did a crime or a terrorist act or something, but set it up to look like Ahsoka did it.
Right.
And then there's a really good lightsaber battle between Anakin and Barriss in the cartoon that they did really well with.
Right. And then, but other than that, I'm like, why? What do I care about it? And then she became one of the sisters of the Inquisitor, but she was always still relating more to the Jedi. I thought they were okay. They're worth watching once, but I really felt that the Dooku Ahsoka one actually added more to the characters and all the events around them at that time.
Okay. Cool.
So.
Okay. Here's the Acolyte. So it's coming out, I think June 4th, I think it is.
Yep.
So I'll make it full screen, and here we go. This is the final trailer, they say.
Last night, a Jedi was murdered.
The Jedi justify their galactic dominance in the name of peace. But that peace is a lie.
Jedi are being hunted.
She was my student. I trained her. Let me be the one to bring her in.
I sense this is only a small part of a larger plan. Some sort of shift to tip the scales.
It's time
To face the past. Destiny is not decided for you by an anonymous force. If you want to pull the thread and change everything, then pull it.
너희가
And there you go.
Well, it's a better trailer than the last one I saw. Got a little more of the story. I do like the guy that's starring in it that we see a lot of. He's from the Squid Games.
Squid Games, yeah. So if I judge it just based on the trailer is very good and it looks great. The only apprehension I have is coming actually from the interviews with the director, writer, the actors in it, where everything they're saying makes it sound like this is going to be very agenda driven. We'll see. The trailer looks good.
Yeah, I'll give it a shot. And as long as they're telling a good story and everything else, if it's about agendas that don't have anything to do with Star Wars, then they're going to lose me pretty quickly.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember though. I think for some reason I thought they already announced that there won't be a season 2.
Probably, I haven't seen anything about a season 2 at all. Even mentioned. I don't think there's going to be, because I think that this was a pre-Filoni taking over as creative director. So I think with his direction, it's going to change a lot of what they're doing.
Well, and I know Iger has made some big announcements lately. Actually, their stock prices dropped because they're kind of preparing people for lower profits moving forward. And they said Marvel is only going to do no more than 3 movies and 2 shows a year now.
Which I'm looking at going, well, that's kind of what they were going to do anyways.
That's not what they were doing?
Yeah,
that's what I thought.
They didn't do really more than 3 movies. And now, of course, is he saying 3 total Marvel movies? That includes not just what Disney does, but like Sony, or any other studios that may have access to Marvel characters?
Oh, even the offshoots. Yeah, here's the report here.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
up to Marvel will release. So, to me, that doesn't count Sony.
Yeah, so I would say it's just that, but it's definitely. I'm looking to go. We don't need more than 3 movies. We don't need more than 2 shows. What we need is good quality stuff, good storytelling. Good quality. It's
really what would be perfect is if you're doing 3 movies, you have a beginning, middle, and end for a phase. And the 2 shows kind of bridge the first to second movie and then the second to third movie.
Yeah, treat like the events in the comics. In the comics, they would have these supplemental comics that you didn't need to read, but they added more to the story from a different angle. And that's kind of what they originally were going to do with S.H.I.E.L.D. S.H.I.E.L.D. was originally going to be, they started with that, was here's what's happening outside of between this movie and this movie. They would introduce like different people from the different movies that had happened.
Yeah, and it worked great when they tied it into the Captain America movie.
Yeah, but then they went off on their own track because the TV studio side and the film studio were run by different people, and they got into a tiff, so they went on their own direction.
Yeah, so Feige said, "No more of you."
Yes,
we shall not acknowledge
all of it. It's fine. Yeah, as long as you can tell some good stories. I mean, it's and we don't need a Marvel series every 12 weeks, or every 10 weeks or whatever, or even overlapping. And if it's not going to be something that adds to the greater story, then don't really need it either. It's a couple I enjoyed. I enjoyed some more than others. There's some I enjoyed that others didn't. I mean, I enjoyed this She-Hulk series, but She-Hulk, even as a comic, is its own thing. It's not really meant to be a part of the bigger picture, and that was fine as is. But going forward, definitely, if they're going to tell some good stories, it's like, okay, you can introduce something in a movie, and then you do a series around something that's tied into it, and continue that aspect of that subplot that's not detrimental to the movie itself or even the overall, but it's overall arcing with the phase.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, very good.
But yeah.
You want to talk a little Bad Batch?
Yeah, Bad Batch is done. It's not just the end of the season, it's the end of the series. We got 3 seasons with that one there. And I'm going to miss it. I like these characters, but at the same time, they did wrap it all up.
Yeah, I like the way Screen Rant put it. Bad Batch series finale review. Star Wars animation and storytelling at its best. I have to say, this season was very satisfying for me as a fan.
Yeah.
So well done all the way around. And I like the ending. The ending, they give you kind of a little jump forward in time. Some people are speculating. Oh, go ahead.
Well, you kept speculating Vader and never showed up.
Well, there was an article saying that there was 2 episodes featuring Vader. Never happened. So maybe
see,
that was misdirection by Filoni, or
no, I think what it is, and I'll be honest with you, it's not that you didn't read those; they actually got put out there. But there's too many of these articles are popping up runs with Star Wars, especially that say this, and this. It's all clickbait. It's all to gather people just to click through it and read it. And I stopped reading most of those. If it's not from a respectable source that I know, I don't even touch it.
right. So one thing this is speculation part, but the upcoming TV series Skeleton Crew for Star Wars, one of the actresses kind of looks the way they make Omega look in the jump forward scene. One of the actresses looked like they're wondering if she's going to be playing an older live action Omega, because she's got the blonde hair and all that stuff. So, anyone can have blonde hair though. So who knows?
Yeah.
But I'm trying to find which actress it is. I can't remember now. Anyways, so they're wondering, are we going to see her in Skeleton Crew? So that'll be interesting if they do.
Well, and I just give everything away with spoilers. If those haven't watched it yet, because it's been over a week. If you're not watching it now, you can watch it later. But the jump forward in time showed Hunter with Omega. And Omega is going off to join the rebellion. She's going to be, they said they need more pilots. We don't have a exact time on this. It doesn't say exactly 10 years or this or that. Definitely Hunter is much older. Of course, he ages a lot faster, but she looks to be, I would say, at least 10 years older than she was prior to, up through the last part there. So,
yeah, Hunter, I'm assuming ages the same as the other clones, which would be twice as fast. Mm-hmm. But when is Skeleton Crew coming out?
I believe it's coming out
late 2024. This says,
yeah,
and originally it was supposed to come out last year,
right? But it got delayed because of the strikes. So they hadn't even started filming it yet. I believe they're still finishing up the filming of that. So
okay,
yeah. Here's the only thing I can find official. Is just this little bit from last year. They have one picture. So let me see if I can zoom in on here. So there's this image here someone took at one of the events. So it's not been officially released per se, but you can see that's a screen there. But this is the Skeleton Crew right there. So
yeah, and those things all sticking in his face. That's in Return of the Jedi when C-3PO's at Jabba's door, that little droid eyeball that pops out. That's what those things are. Yeah,
and it looks like they could be somewhere like that, like a hut place or something. There's definitely desert behind them. No, if one of these is going to be Omega, it's probably this one right here, without being able to see him completely. But I don't think there's any other looks at.
I don't think we know anything about it as far as timeline or anything.
No, they haven't dropped anything in here. But they talk about the interesting take on Skeleton Crew. It's not a confirmation. The two shows will interact. So they talk about Mandalorian. So it's probably around that time.
Okay.
So that's about the best information I can find. That's authorized information.
Yep.
There's so much fake stuff out there. So
right.
But yeah, Bad Batch I thought was good. It was this entire season was more of a they had a lot of story they wanted to tell. So we didn't get, like in the previous two seasons, a lot of missions and stuff like that. And they dropped they pulled back from some of the characters they had a lot in season 2. We saw them here and there in 3, but they really focused on the group themselves and then what was really going on and why Omega was being hunted in the first place. Which is, for the basically the cloning project for the Emperor, even though they don't directly say that's what it is, but that fits into the plan. So
yeah, here's the screenshot there. Mm-hmm. That's Omega on the right with Hunter on the left.
And Hunter's definitely quite aged. And
right.
Of course, they all got badly just beat up during these last few episodes. So he's definitely probably still got a lot of the scars and everything. So
although with his age now, we have a perfect excuse to bring Sylvester Stallone into the Star Wars universe. He is Hunter. I mean, that's Rambo. Let's be honest. That's Rambo. I mean, there's no doubt that could be Sylvester Stallone right there. So it gives us an excuse to get Sly into the Star Wars universe.
Yep. And we didn't get any confirmation on the whereabouts of the other Bad Batch clones that were still alive at the end of before the time jump. But
Right.
I believe though we're going to see. I believe Filoni's going to have to bring him away again somewhere, and I think it'll tie into some other stuff. And I can see it tying into things he's doing with the Mandalorian and even that skeleton crew, because that would tie into. He's been really working hard to add some stuff around the sequel movies, just to, because they know they can't necessarily get rid of him. He could, they could try to, retcon everything, but I think he's looking just to skirt around it by saying, let me give you all this other stuff around it that has better story. So,
yeah, there's so much story content that he can fill in.
Yeah.
And in the process, make the sequels better. Mm-hmm. Because, there is a lot of story to be told, but behind the scenes of the Emperor's plans. You got Vader. That's all unexplored territory right now. Mm-hmm. For that. So there's a lot of great content they can create, and in the process strengthen the sequels so that they become palpable down the road. I don't know if that'll ever happen for me, but
it's not. And it's like, I just didn't have time this week with other stuff I wanted to do and get done, but they're releasing the Star Wars movies down to theaters. Episode 1's out this week.
Yep.
And I guess they're going to do them all, as what I was seeing on, and I'm like, well, I wouldn't go see, as much as I like The Force Awakens, and The Last Jedi was okay enough to try to fix, or not Last Jedi, Rise of Skywalker to fix Last Jedi. Last Jedi is just a horrible movie, period.
Yeah.
And even, and it keeps popping up again, the video with Mark Hamill talking about, this wasn't his Luke, and he questioned him the whole time, but it's at the end, he's a paid actor and he did what was required of him. And I think it's a shame that that had to be.
It's a shame that Mark Hamill didn't have the balls that Carrie Fisher had. Carrie Fisher would have. She even said she was the advocate for Princess Leia, and when she talked to Daisy Ridley, mm-hmm. she told her, "You are the custodian of this character, and if you don't feel it's right, you need to stand up for it."
Yeah.
I wish Mark Hamill listened to Carrie Fisher when she talked about that, because every fiber in Hamill's being, and he changed his tune a little bit for a little while, but it's all on record what his original thoughts were.
Well, yeah, but he was kind of during the promotion, he had to kind of change his tune, because like, you're under contract, and you're like, okay,
right. But this whole, well, I'm just a paid actor. He knew with every fiber of his being how wrong Rian Johnson's vision of Luke was.
Well, yeah, because he's good friends with, he's good friends with Lucas still, or he was.
Right. So, I wish he stood his ground, but he didn't. So we got what we got,
unfortunately. But hey, I will say this: I saw someone posting that said they used to be a Star Wars fan. They like any of the new stuff. I don't know if they're giving all that. The best thing that's come out really since then has been like the different series between Rebels, the Bad Batch. Mm-hmm. The Ahsoka series was good. Andor
everything Filoni has touched.
In fact, I just got the Andor steel box for the season 1 came out, so I picked that up because I'm trying to still keep some of these going. I still had the Mandalorian, mm-hmm. and then this is confirmation because it says it right there. Obi-Wan, the complete series. So unless they do another season, right now that's the complete series they're calling it, and that's the official release.
I really enjoyed Kenobi. I hope they bring it back. I think it could have been better. I think this is the whole Kathleen Kennedy influence.
Yeah.
For some reason, every series, no matter what it is, we have to create a female character that we have to follow and grow. Reva was not a great. Was it Reva? I think that was.
Yeah. I don't care.
She wasn't a great character.
I don't care whether it's male or female. I want a good character, period.
Good character, yes.
And I'm tired of just these characters that get pushed, not just in Star Wars, but other ones that you probably go, why should I care about this person? First of all, the actor, a lot of times you can tell they may think they have their heart, and they don't. She was not designed for this role. They should have, physically wise, she didn't look good running. She didn't look good at everything. Right. There was something completely off on the whole thing. Nothing against her personally. I couldn't do some of those roles. I mean, if someone came to me and said, well, you've got to play Obi-Wan. Well, first of all, I don't have the accent. Second of all, I don't have the beard, third of all, I'm a bigger guy, and, so I'm not right. But if you say, oh no, you'd be perfect because we want to push this kind of thing here,
Right.
We want, Obi-Wan can be a chubby guy. It's like, no, he needs to be fit.
But the thing is, it's the Kenobi series.
Yeah.
Like, it's not the Reva series.
No,
So
and that's where they screwed up on it. It should have been more him.
They used Kenobi as
Yeah.
a platform to elevate this character to a higher level that the character never deserved.
Right.
And that's the problem. They forced it. Stop forcing stuff. The parts that had nothing to do with her were phenomenal.
Yeah.
The Kenobi versus Vader and all that.
If you look at everything here, she's not even on any of the artwork.
Right.
Inside here, this stuff here.
Right.
So obviously they realize that. I mean, and then the toys, of course, we've used that for years as a way of gauging with Star Wars is if the toys. I mean, I saw her toys out there for nobody wanted them. I looked at all the Obi-Wan stuff. It's like they came out with all these Inquisitor stuff. I'm like, well, Inquisitor stuff's cool in the games. It's cool in the animated stuff, but her character as an Inquisitor is the third sister wasn't.
Right.
And it's just not anything worthwhile. I was hoping to see what these cards were that were inside here too. Yeah, there's a shuttle, there's water breaking, and then Kenobi and that. So she's not even in any of the promotional material. So obviously they recognize that. And again, I'm not slamming the actress. I've seen her in some other stuff, and she was good. But she's still getting just started. She's still new.
Yeah.
And
she was good. She was good at the scenes when they started revealing her past, and she was actually working with Kenobi. She doesn't have the gravitas to be a bad guy.
No.
She should have been if they had cast her as a good Jedi, I think it would have been better.
She might have been better as a still an Imperial officer. Yeah.
Yep. She doesn't have a wide acting range. No. So she needs somebody who's more subdued. So I think an officer would be good.
Yeah. But it's just stuff like that. And it's a shame.
But this rage-filled Sith or wannabe Sith who's trying to double cross Vader, it's just like, no.
Yeah, and that whole part of the storyline just doesn't. But again, everything I'm looking at here, there's the thing. There's nothing about that on it. You'd never know it's in this story based on the packaging they have now. So it's a shame. I think it's a shame that the idea that what they want to destroy in not just Star Wars, but we're talking about Star Wars. We'll stick with that. Is actually a lot of stuff that makes Star Wars worthwhile. And they act like that there's no characters that fit certain molds. Like you've already had a bunch of good characters that fit the molds you're talking about, but you choose not to acknowledge them. So you're paying them a lot of disrespect. And they've grown characters. When they grow characters properly in these stories, these shows we like in movies, everything goes better. If you say, well, I have my agenda to push, whenever I see any movie, I don't care what it is, and they spend half time having lectures, I still always go back to even the series. Supergirl could have been could have finished off a great series. After the first season, I was like, oh, this is great. Mm-hmm. When we got several episodes, and again, you can go back and watch the show yourself to see them
Season
say,
2.
Yep, it was the whole time of the lesbian wedding shower. I don't need you to keep saying lesbian wedding shower every week for several weeks. They literally did that.
Yeah. And
I didn't care that they had two characters that were women that were going to get married.
Well, also that character, what was her name? Alex, was it? The sister. She was a great character in season 1. Then all of a sudden they had this big reveal, and then the whole season 2, she's like crying all the time and is emotional, and she was no longer a strong character. She was a great character the first season. And it's like, and then out of nowhere, this reveal comes. You could tell it. Actually, didn't they switch networks?
Yeah, they went from CBS to the CW.
Yeah, and that's when all the switch happened.
Yeah, and the problem was is this. Don't really care. I don't care if you have gay characters, straight characters, whatever, trans characters. You can have all this stuff. If you're going to spend the whole time talking about an event that's going to happen in an episode several weeks later, and they constantly have to classify giving it the terms of, they could have said, well, the lesbian wedding shower, the trans wedding shower, the not heterosexual wedding, whatever they want to call it. It was just a wedding shower. That's all you had to say, the wedding shower. But why spend weeks planning it in this series? And then you got like maybe 5-8 minutes of actual story within Supergirl. They took away from these great stories they were trying to tell and made it all about, well, we have to push this home and say this all the time. Mm-hmm. That took away all the fun of watching the show. And it's not because of what they were talking about. It's because they constantly had to say it over and over. And when they were then some of the stuff in like The Last Jedi, it was constantly taking a character, Finn, who should have been a great character in this one, who stepped up and made him retro back even worse than he was in the first movie in terms of being afraid. But then he's going to go run off because he's got to save Ray because he's in love with Ray, but the whole time everything he's doing is counterintuitive to what he should be doing.
Yeah, it was a mess.
Yeah,
but yeah, we'll see where it goes. I'm
gonna watch
cautiously
the first 2 episodes.
pessimistic. I'm cautiously pessimistic about Acolyte. We'll see where it goes. Like I said, based on the trailers, I'm looking forward to it. Based on the interviews, I'm dreading it.
Right.
We'll see where it falls. Sometimes these actors, you got to remember too, they don't see the final cut while they're filming, so it could be what their interpretation of all this was versus what we end up seeing could be very different. So we'll see.
There is 8 total episodes. The first 2 drop. So we'll see. We'll see how it fits in.
Yeah.
So.
All right. The last thing I want to talk about really quick is this is a movie from 2012 called The Impossible. It's about the tsunamis that happened in 2004, so 8 years earlier. There you can see a young Tom Holland in it.
Spider-Man.
Yeah, that features Spider-Man there. And Naomi Watts is in it. And also Ewan McGregor is in it also. But it follows the real life story of a family that was present in Thailand for when that tsunami hit. And then the focus isn't so much on the tsunami. It's the beginning part. They show what happens, but it's about everything that like them trying that water pushing them through everything and the terror of being swept through the water and all the things that they were hitting and getting gouged with as they get scraped over everything. And then because of the way it hit, they all got separated and then trying to find each other and survive and, make their way back. And it's a good story. It's in Netflix, but it's on their leaving soon list or whatever they call it. So if you do want to check it out, it's on Netflix. I don't know. It's not going to be there much longer, maybe end of the month. I don't know, but it's worth the watch. It's pretty intense.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, hey, we covered a lot of stuff.
Yes, we did.
So next week, I'm not sure what's going to be going on. I may have jury duty, so I may not be here. A week from this Friday starts the Motor City Comic Con. I will, if I don't have to jury duty next Wednesday, I'll let Scott know ahead of time, and we'll both be on together. Otherwise, I'll let him know either way, and then he can decide if he wants to do an episode. So if we're not on next week, join us in 2 weeks. We'll definitely be back for that.
Oh yeah, I'll definitely do something unless some real estate thing pops up. But
yeah,
I have a closing next Wednesday, but it's in the evening, so I won't have to worry about the show. I should be able to do the podcast.
Excellent. So hey, if we don't see you next week, we'll see you when we do see you. Come out to Motor City Comic Con, look for me in B5, and maybe we'll get to see all 3 of us. But you guys have a great one. Bye.
Take care.